So here we are today in our Worthy Collective, and what we're going to do is we're going to share who we are, where this idea, this thought, this vision came from. And then we're going to step into our wins because that's where we always recognize those places in which we get to celebrate ourselves. And then we have a powerful message that we get to share today. And so I know there's a number of people who wanted to make it today, and you're either going to be popping in with us in between somewhere or another, and or you're going to be watching the replay. So either way, we were grateful. I had a little bit of an adjustment for training this last week, and it was a conference call. And as much as technology sometimes makes me a little frustrated, just like we had a few minutes earlier, realizing the password was missing from the message, very big detail that makes a difference. And so we had to pivot, and technology can be really frustrating. And I didn't realize how much I appreciate my Zoom to see people's faces because the conference call was awkward. People were talking over each other, and it was just different than what this is. Now, what's better is if we could hug each other and say, hello, wow, link arms and all the things. And that will be an opportunity because that's part of our vision. Yet this is such a blessing that we are all somewhere safe. Well, Tamara is driving to an appointment, but yet meaning we're all over, and we have Avril from Colombia. So we are so blessed that this technology brings us together, and we have the choice. We have the choice to do it in, it just didn't work. We have the choice to have our video on or off. It's always, a 100% choice, but it was a really great space for me to recognize. To recognize the opportunity that we do have. So first and foremost, the vision that we had was the Worthy Collective was based originally on this book, Worthy, from Jamie Kern Lima. And we had a 10-week challenge that we took step by step, week by week in the chapters. And the guides, who I'm going to introduce here in just a few minutes, we actually read it 2 and 3 times. And what we discovered would be the message was different based on where we were in our lives. And hearing it again solidified the message of our worthiness. And we are all made worthy. And the opportunities that we have to pivot in life. And so I would like to introduce to you our beautiful guides because we came together with an idea that community matters. And that we are stronger and better together, especially in the world that we live in today that is ever changing. And that with that support system, when we dip a little bit in life, whether it's personal, professional, and you have others around you that can lift you up, it makes the whole journey so much greater. So let's start by introducing the beautiful Lori Love Jones from Nashville, Tennessee. Take it away, love.
Woo-hoo. Hello, ladies. Okay, what you want me to introduce myself?
Yes,
What?
I would love for you to introduce yourself.
Well, Lori Love Jones, because love is the greatest gift that all of us have. So, um, I've been a massage therapist for 30 years, coaching and leading people back to their authentic self, teaching people many things. So it was a dream of mine to be a collaboration with other women that had the similar vision and being able to bring their own talents to this platform in order to lift and remind women how powerful we are.
So incredibly powerful. So absolutely beautiful. And what I love the most about Lori Love Jones is that she has been the essence and the example of how she has chosen into this incredible career to serve others day in and day out, physically and mentally, and knowing that the service that she's passed on is being able to ask, allow, and receive. And so many of us realize that receiving is such a great blessing, yet there's 2 steps before we receive that we really need to ask, allow and receive, and how she's lived this out. Every one of us have absolutely been blessed by her choice, her example, and the tools and resources. I don't know a single human on this earth that has a greater amount of resources than Lori when it comes to either an herb, an oil, how to handle your body, how to search the right person. Like literally she is the most resourceful goddess there is. So we are all greater by her. And many times we'll be like, we were just Loried.
Hey,
So
I'm here to inspire and just flip that switch in people that I can. So
I love
it's
it. So
it's an
grateful.
honor. It's an honor.
So grateful. It looks like we lost Stace. So why don't we step into what you were
You
going to
can't see me?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you were
I'm
gone.
here. I just have my video off.
Okay. Got it. All right.
I'm
Okay.
driving. I can turn it on to do whatever you need me
Well,
to
what's
do.
better for you? Do you want me to have Lori teach and then pop in and introduce you?
That's fine.
Okay, we'll do that because you and Tam are both driving. So we're so proud and excited because technology is such a blessing. So let's see how I can pull this together for you. Just one moment.
Okay. Yes, I see it.
Yes. Okay. All right, here we go.
And one of the best examples to look at collective transformation is the process in biology that is called metamorphosis, when something like a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The two are quite different. A caterpillar is like a worm. A butterfly is a very magical creature with beautiful colors that flies. This is what happens. At a certain point in its development, a caterpillar becomes very greedy. It starts to consume more than it needs. And when its consumption exceeds its metabolic needs, the caterpillar's body starts to die. And it starts to liquefy. But within the body of the caterpillar, there are a few cells here and there that scientists refer to as the imaginal cells. Imaginal cells. Because these imaginal cells are dreaming a new reality, literally. These imaginal cells, they vibrate in a different frequency of consciousness. And when the caterpillar's body recognizes these imaginal cells, they attack them. The immune cells of the caterpillar, they attack the imaginal cells. But because the imaginal cells are vibrating at a different frequency, they remain immune to the onslaught. Soon the immune cells give up a critical threshold, then something magical happens. A gene, a genetic code that has been lying dormant in the body of the caterpillar, it wakes up. And in that genetic code is the information for wings, is the information for a new heart, the information for antenna, the information for legs, the information for a new metabolic rate, because the metabolic rate of a flying creature has to be different from the metabolic rate of a worm. All that is coded in the gene. And the gene which was sleeping wakes up because of the connectivity of the imaginal cells. And as the rest of the body of the caterpillar starts to die, then the imaginal cells, they start to use the dying carcass of the caterpillar as their nutritive soup. And soon a butterfly emerges with the flight to freedom. You are the imaginal cells. So please start to imagine the new reality.
How are you?
Here we are.
Oh my goodness. Hi.
How you doing?
Yep. I'm feeling a little.
Hold on.
Well, tell us who you are
I'm KB Richens and I'm 20 years old.
and where you from.
Utah.
Sorry. I think that was playing the next video. I love technology. I love technology.
Okay, so wow, right? Talk about rising in worthiness and claiming your full potential. The biology of the butterfly, and we are this we are the butterfly. So the imaginary cells are in all of us. So that's why it's so powerful to know that as we go through different stages of life and through changes, that it's so important to grow into our full potential and to have the right support, to also know what stage of transformation are you in at this present moment, because we all know it's a process. And do you have support in place? As we learned with Jamie with chapter 10, she asks a certain question: do you believe that you are worthy of transformation, of becoming the full expression of yourself and emerging and flying into your full potential? What is holding you back? So I know when we rise, things change, and it's learning how to embrace the changes. So with this worthy community, we are definitely supportive and here for you as we give you tools and exercises and affirmations, to help you as you embrace this change. First of all, one of the most important thing is your mindset, and your mindset is everything. So it's the awareness. Where am I? What am I thinking about? Who am I who am I with? What am I thinking about? What are my actions? What are my habits? So it's so important to take inventory of your own life in every aspect, the body, mind, and spirit, and getting real with yourself. And personally, as I've had this vision of an expanded version of myself to be able to make greater impact and to be of greater service on the planet. I've attracted these beautiful women, Maggie and Tamara and Stacy, to help me to collaborate as we grow and expand in our own personal lives, and we can influence and impact the lives of so many women. And it's time. There's no greater time than now. So we all share our realness and our honesty, and we lay that environment down, or we hold the space, I should say. Oh, I like to say, we hold the space for everyone to grow wherever they are, whatever stage they are, be it the caterpillar, the cocoon, the wet wings, or the butterfly. And just to be able to give you the love and support is one of the greatest feelings, to have this fulfillment. So yes, surrounding ourselves with like-minded and like-hearted people are one of the greatest things that I've learned in my life. And letting go of our stories and start creating. Because like Deepak says, this gene is laying dormant inside of us. So it's time to awaken to the worthiness. So that's what
I love it. And that visual, like I was telling Lori when she sent it to me, and I was driving along and I couldn't see it, but I could see it. I could see it,
Yeah.
And what I wrote down is creating a new heart, new legs, new wings, new metabolic rate to fly. And how many times in life when we have a goal, oh, I just got the chills. When we have a goal, a dream, like we dream of like, I want to feel better. Well, is it really a dream or is it a goal? Well,
Mhm.
it's a vision of something more, and yet we need to do the step, which I see goals are the little steps to get us to this destination. And so whatever that might be, realizing doing the same is the definition of insanity. And when we surround ourselves with the same people that are talking us out of things versus into things with opportunity and options and resources and solutions, it can be such a different experience, which I believe Stacy would be a great transition here to share from her perspective, because she has gone through a lot while in the Worthy Collective, like lots of life altering changes. And Stace, if you are able to share a little bit about you.
I don't know why my camera is like that, so I'm gonna turn it off because it looks quite odd. I've been having
Even your
problems with my phone.
eye is covered, like smeared.
Yeah,
I
maybe it's
just
your
wiped it
lens.
off.
Well,
Or there's light behind you and it's reflecting
yeah,
into it.
you can
Yeah,
turn
what that? Like, I am seriously in a dark area. This is weird.
Oh,
I look like I have a
Light.
smoky film over me. All right, well, I'm just gonna roll with it.
It's a new
you're like the
filter.
1940s movie stars that would smear Vaseline on the lens so it would soften it there so you couldn't see their any of
There
the
we
wrinkles.
go.
That's
Hey,
it.
there's
Okay,
your
here I am.
There you
Sorry,
are.
I'm not. My shirt's a little lower than
There
I
is
thought
a
it was. Okay.
transformation. There is a transformation.
I'm getting my wings. I'm getting my wings. so, so I am Stacy, and I have been in the holistic wellness side for over 10 years. I specialize in nutrition and hypnotherapy. I love helping people. And through this journey, I've realized that these are the people that I needed in my life that I didn't know I needed. I did know I needed, but I don't think I ever felt like I would find them or that I belonged anywhere until I joined with all of these great women, Tamara, Lori, Maggie, Heidi, everybody involved. It's been a blessing. I don't think I would still be standing on my 2 feet if it wasn't for the support of all of you through all these trials and tribulations of growth and of growth. I think is a great word. I have I had a really rough road, but I have not let it get me. I look forward to our Saturday meetings where we plan for these things and share our goals and our wins. And then on Sundays, it just helps me get through the rest of my week. Currently, I am helping out a friend who had a really horrible tragedy in July, lost her daughter and 2 grandsons in a very terrible car accident. So I've been staying at her house and trying to help her and just be there. She doesn't let me do anything. She does my laundry. She cooks for me. I mean, I don't know. I'm not complaining. But every time I try to do something, I have to fight with her. And she's like, you're not going to win. And I said, right now I'm going to let you get away with this, but soon I'm going to start taking charge. And she's like, you can try. But she said she just loves having me there. And she loves to cook. And that's what she did for her grandson. She would pick him up from school, get dinner started or whatever. And then mom would come home and they would all have dinner together and everything. And she doesn't have that anymore. So she's still trying to keep some kind of a schedule of what she did, but it's not the same people. So it's a blessing. There's nothing else that I really know I can do for her. As we all know, when someone loses someone, there's nothing you can say that's going to make it better. There's nothing you can do because all they want is them back. So I've just been there to listen, to help. And time again, she tells me, I hope you realize how much you are really helping me, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And the other friends that are, helping her through this. And that means a lot to me. It also scares me because I can't think of my world without her also. So through all of this, I have learned to accept myself for who I am, to love myself. And on the days that I remember, because sometimes I'm usually running out of the house, when I tell myself, you know, I love you, you are amazing. I have such a much better day than the days prior to my learning my worthiness. I was the person who arrived at things and I would stay off to the side. I'm just here. People might notice me, but I don't want to be noticed. You know, so now I'm trying to reach out and be noticed and be like, hey, how are you doing? Because there's probably other people like me, how I felt, that are going to sit over there in the corner, and I want to bring you in. I want you to feel what I'm feeling and feel the room and enjoy, you know, what you're here for. You came to be at a party or you came to an event, be part of the event, enjoy the event, not just exist. And that's all I can think of right now.
Well, what I see that has been so powerful to recognize that God literally orchestrated a job change for Stacy,
Yes.
well out of her way and a little more challenging, like drive wise, all like it was personally challenging for her to accept this position because the other one was convenient and comfortable. And it took her away. She followed the offer, and then it brought her to an opportunity to be there with her friend. And as much as we all know that she's there for her friend is there for Stace. So you see this intertwine of how God orchestrates situations beyond our wildest dreams, like certain things that do happen that are such tragedies, and we would reverse it if we could. And when we step into the opportunity of serving, Stacy is actually being served.
Absolutely. I suffered a tragedy 30 years ago, and my friend that I'm helping now, that is when I met her, and she stepped in and showed me what a friend was. Did I know 30 years from now I'd be standing there helping her? But she is actually breaking down some walls as I'm helping her of grief that I built up that I didn't want to deal with. And
And it's intense.
it's amazing. It's intense, but it has really like opened my eyes to a lot of things. Even my children are like, Mom, you're so different. You're still you, but you're so different. And then they told me that whenever they hear that song, She Talks to Angels, they see that that's the song that reminds me of them, or they reminds me them of me. There we go.
Yeah. Mm.
And
Good
I don't know
stuff,
if they realize how
Stacy.
much that really meant. Yes, it is all good stuff.
How many daughters do you have, Stace?
I have five grown daughters all out on their own, and they're amazing people. They're all different, but they all have good hearts, and they're all doing very well. And I'm very proud of every one of them.
And just as much as you are proud of them, they are proud of you. And that example that you're showing at this stage in life where so many times, I'd probably say at every stage, we can choose in and choose out. And yet those stories that we choose not to listen to, that, you know, you took and followed your heart in direction for education later in life, and then choosing into it and giving yourself that space and opportunity, like they're seeing it as adults differently.
Yep.
So powerful. We were
Yes.
reflecting, I believe it was in our group. Let me find it real quick if I can. I don't know if it was, I think it was last Sunday. Forgive me. I might just need to repeat it because it's so powerful, is to understand that Julie Wainwright created the Real Reel at 53. Viola Davis achieved the EGOT status at 57. Harlan Sanders founded KFC at 62. Ray Kroc franchised the first McDonald's at 52. So we could find this all day long. And what the true exciting inspiration is that there's no clock, there's no timeline, there's no age. It's all a choice. It's a choice in how we show up, how we serve, where we serve, and that ripple effect makes a difference no matter what. And it feels so powerful when you're linked to people who choose to step in and understand that those simple gifts that we pass on, and like stepping into your friend, has been something you've taken us through as a journey, that none of us are in that situation. And we've lived through that situation by supporting you. So that's what a collective does.
And I love you all for all that support. I hope you realize how much it has helped in the lowest times when I was ready to give up. But
And
I don't give up.
not a but, and you don't, and you chose in originally, especially when you've had so many people around you saying, oh, what are you doing now? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Like, there's always going to be the questions from others about choosing in, educating yourself, inspiring yourself. Like, no one is going to do it for us. And when you have a circle that chooses in, and it may not be pretty, it's been pretty ugly, like challenging,
Messy.
yet messy, so messy.
Messy.
But the beauty is in the mess. So thank you, Miss Stace. What I am so grateful and honored, because I've known you for a minute as well, that your endurance, your steadfast choices, and that inspiration that you have chosen in, and you're utilizing that in which you did have a vision for, and being able to pass on those gifts. And your work ethic is absolutely incredible. And what I love the most watching through this journey is all the spaces that you have chosen in to choose out of. So in the situation, you said, thank you so much for thinking of me. That is not going to work. Or I am going to graciously pass on that opportunity, because that we must realize that there is a place for no. And it's hard to do that when you have such a heart center, and you've done that over and over, most recently to be able to serve yourself. And that is leadership at its finest. So good. So Miss Tam, Miss Tamara,
Hello.
who is in my favorite color that she could wear. It's her royalty purple. So you want to share a
Yep.
little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Tamara Wright, and I am an accidental entrepreneur. I am the mom of 3 wonderful children, extremely diverse, and they are all neurodivergent. They all have ADHD, very different types of it, which my husband also has ADHD. So there's 5 people in my house, and I'm the only one who doesn't have ADHD. So that presents its own wonderful challenges, but it also has given me a skill set that I use when I teach students. So I teach voice and acting and audition preparation. I'm a former professional actor, probably soon to be an professional actor, because that's something I'm going back into. But as I'm doing it, I'm plotting the process and teaching my students how to do it. So I'm multitasking as well. I'm also a homeschooling mom, so I just can't help myself in teaching, making everything a teaching coachable moment. So that is kind of my story in a nutshell. I'm developing my own studio process on how I communicate to my students, how I take something complex, break it into little steps, and help them build back up. And knowing your confidence and knowing your worth at the same time is very much a skill that every single student of mine has to have. If you're going to go out to Hollywood, if you're going to go out in the world where you are going to be judged for everything that you look like, sound like, whatever you do, you have to have a very strong sense of who you are first. And so that is kind of the perspective that I start with my students. So I'm going to say two things about Stacy, one thing about Stacy and one thing about Lori, and then I'll go into what I want to talk about. What Stacy said was she had a friend that was there for her that she turned around 30 years later and was there for the other friend. And I just want to point out that that is when we bless others, we receive blessings in return. Like you can't predict when they are and you don't know the timing of them. It's just that if you give out blessings, they will come back to you. That's what you will receive. And Lori always talks about love, giving love, manifesting all those things. That's part of that process. And the thing that Lori said that really struck me with the video was that those imaginative cells, they're within us. They have the coding within us. They are within us. And when we switch it on, when we tap into it, when we discover it, when we choose into it, it is what ignites and grows into the process. And the other thing you have to realize is those caterpillars, they are consuming beyond what they need, right? Like that's the trigger. And that means that it is a choice to go into that metamorphosis process, right? Because what they are consuming will ultimately appear to be what takes them down. But it actually is the thing that is going to fuel their future, right? So with that in mind, I right now am in a process of letting go, of rewiring certain aspects of my life and people in my life. And I don't know if you guys know the story of Tammy Faye Baker. I know that we know her as the wife of the evangelist and then she wore all the makeup and that sort of thing. But later in her years, she was part of a reality TV series. And she was on it with Vanilla Ice. So Rob Van Winkle, who was Vanilla Ice. And he was at a point in his life where he absolutely despised people referring to him as Vanilla Ice. Oh. And yet, because he was like, he wanted to kind of like shed that image because he felt like it didn't have any value and worth because it was so cheesy and at a time in his life when he was young and he was being accused of all these things. And he just wasn't understanding the value and the worth and the importance that time in his life. And that's the songs that he did and what it meant to people. And if anybody has a story of redemption, it would be Tammy Faye Baker, because she was attached to this husband who did absolutely horrible things, but she knew nothing about them. She was just this positive person. And she said to him, she says, you know, Rob, these people love you for what you brought to them. And when you are shutting down that acknowledgement, then and not showing the gratitude for that, you're not allowing them to bless you. You're not allowing them to express the significance. You're not seeing the value and the worth that you had in their life. And there was a moment in the show, and she was talking about, she goes, I had to. She then went on to speak at a book signing, and they were all part of it. And she was talking about how she could have just given up. She was being loyal to her husband. She was sticking by his side. And the more that she was discovering about the evil things that he did that landed him in jail, she started to realize, I don't have to hold on to this corpse anymore. This thing became death to her, and she had to let it go. She just had to let it go and realize that who she thought she was married to was not the person who she thought he was. And that promise that she made was to a person that didn't exist. And so she had to let him go. And that's when then she met the husband that she had later in her life. And she started to realize, you know, she was very faith forward, very much. She knew people made fun of her because of what she wore and how much makeup she wore. But she's like, well, I do it for me. I do it because it reminds me that I'm beautiful, and it reminds me, and that was more important to her. So after that, on this reality show, they went to a karaoke bar, and and it was all these like celebrity, like that's who was on these, and somebody went to sing Ice Ice Baby. And they weren't sure how Rob was going to take it because he was still in this phase of I'm ignoring. And the whole bar was singing with the two other people. And Tammy looked over at Rob and said, do you see the people? Do you see how much this song inspires them, connects with them? They love it, and it lifts them up. And you are denying that when you are denying that you are that person. So you know what he did? He got up and he went on stage and sang it with them and sang it with everybody else. And I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he now has a show about building houses because that was his other love. It totally changed his life and his perspective because he had to let go of who he thought that image made him be so he could embrace who he could be. And if you, everybody has to know, I am the most emotional person here because I'm an actor and I wear my emotions right on the surface. And so they spill out all the time. So you're going to always see lots of cleansing tears. So the chapter that that I'm living right now from this book is chapter 23. I think it's 23. And it's called A Circle or a Cage, right? So the people you allow, it starts off with this fabulous quote by Trent Shelton. Be careful telling your dreams to people who aren't dreamers. So whoever is in your circle, they either want to see you transform into a butterfly, or they want you to stay in the cocoon. They want you to be in that cage, or they're going to support you to fly. And I've got two people right now in my life who are, they would prefer I stay small. They would prefer I stay beneath them. One of them is somebody that I had at a occupation. And then there's another one who is in my family. And so I can't, I could walk away from the one that at the job that I had, but I really can't walk away from the family member because they are who they are. But what I'm learning in Jamie's book is she says, people are so often just doing the best they can with the resources and capacity that they have. So they're being who they are. And I have to, the section of this book is loving from a big picture perspective. What's the big picture? Part of the path to freedom is releasing your own expectations of how you think they should be and just simply loving them for who they are. Now, that means you have to put boundaries on them. That means you have to say, you can be in their lives, but you don't have to tell them all your dreams and your hopes because they're probably just going to squash them or do something negative about them. You don't have to spend a lot of time with them. You can just put the parameters. I can be there for this. I'm not willing to be there for that. And we have found that if you surround yourself with the people who want you to fly, God will use those people to bring things into your world, like this group of people. But it's also the information, the knowledge, and the experiences we have that will help you grow. I have found that I always say that my students actually teach me more than I ever teach them, because they often guide me as to where the need is. And then I step into that need based on where I've been and where I want to go. So just like my students who want to get an agent, who want to get back or want to get into the acting field, I'm stepping back into it so I can show them the process. So I'm going to bless them and they bless me. But we're in this book also, Maggie, this is a gift from Maggie for all of us, believing bigger. I don't think that the timing of this is coincidental. Not at all. My day today is birthing bigger, just by that title alone. And it says in here that when it's talking about being born and the process of being born and how it's messy, it's how the baby has to leave the comforts of the womb, and it has to go through a dark process, and it's squishy and it's tight. And it says, let's see, You never learn to walk unless you first take your steps forward, right? So you're going to fall, you're going to get back up, you're going to move forward, but you have to be willing to try. So God won't bless you here with what he has for you there. He's going to bless you there, but you got to get there first. He's not going to bless you here because otherwise you wouldn't go forward, right? So you have to move forward and you have to take those steps. So he says it might be God is intentionally moving you from the womb to the birth canal. It might be tight, dark, and uncomfortable, but you can't stay in the incubator forever. Embrace the shift. The best is on the other side of birth. And the question that I would challenge maybe some of you to answer is, if you were to push through the discomfort of your current season, what do you imagine? There's that word again. Imaginative cells. Imagine God might have for you on the other side. What's on the other side? So I came across this quote, and it is by Paulo. Actually, Maggie, I sent you in Simple Healthy Maggie. I sent you the quote if you want to put it in the chat. It is by Paulo Coelho. I hope I said that correct. Avril would have to correct me on that. Here's the quote. Maybe the journey isn't about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so that you can be who you were meant to be in the first place.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that. Maybe the journey isn't about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so that you can be who you were meant to be in the first place. Paulo Coelho is the author of the book, The Alchemist. And if you read his story, I encourage you to look into it, and how he came about becoming a writer. And in this book, the book is, it's a story that follows a shepherd boy, Santiago, in his journey across North Africa to the Egyptian pyramids after he dreams of finding a treasure there. And the ultimate gist is, like, he goes to this faraway place only to come back home, and that's where the treasure was the whole time. And I want you to think about what Lori was talking about, and that transformation, that metamorphosis. And because I do filmmaking and it's always about metaphors and imagery, the title of this book is The Alchemist. This study of alchemy, or the practice of alchemy, was to turn different metals into gold, which can't be done. So you're seeking this treasure, you're seeking this other thing. But what they're missing is the treasure of the metals, the precious metals that they were using in the first place. That all those ingredients were precious, and those ingredients had specific purpose, and we went on to be other wonderful things in our world. So ultimately, the season that I'm in right now is recognizing my value and worth, eliminating from my circle those that want to keep me in a cage, so that I can transform and to soar, to take off and fly, and be the butterfly and let go of the caterpillar. So one of my favorite quotes, and I've said this before with the ladies, is, in order to discover new oceans, we must have courage to lose sight of the shore. So I don't know what I'm going to look like on the other end of this journey of creating this process for my students to find agents and get into the professional world. I don't know. All I know is that I need to follow the path, bless others. In return, I will be blessed, and we'll all fly. So
Very good.
Being able to talk after Tamara teaches is always a challenge, because she gets you right there, like right there, right. Oh, and what I love.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. What I love, and I'm so sorry I did not find your email. I just was looking.
That's okay.
But we can make sure in a follow-up that everybody has the recording and the quotes because they're powerful. And Tamara and I go way back, way back. And what I
Yeah.
love the most is recognizing that little bit of something you found in yourself that you saw and you grew, and to know what you're doing with young children and seeing, like giving them a space, like you said, in your environment that is very challenging because they're very different in their own light, all four of your family members, but yes, also how they think and how they need and they do, and how you've applied that to your business that you've created from scratch. And the fact that now you're elevating yourself because you removed yourself from those environments that until we choose to surround ourselves with others that are leveling up, they're allowing different frequencies, we don't realize what is acceptable and not acceptable. When we're in an environment that is not necessarily for us, but we see ourselves growing a little bit, doing the things, unless there's someone else that says, what are you doing? What are you doing? We don't realize it's not good for us. And what I love the most is that you've acknowledged this. You have made the best of in the situations that are coming for you right now. And yet the calmness that you have about yourself, because you ground yourself in the word, you ground yourself in surrounding yourself with greater levels of thinking, and the opportunity of mindset is absolutely incredible. And what you teach children, it's absolutely incredible.
The thing that struck me that you were just saying that I wanted to that came from Lori's was the frequency. If everything is not vibrating or up to that same frequency as you, it's not a match. It fights it. So if you find people who are operating at your frequency, that circle, right? And if it's encouragement, if it's the frequency of building, if it's positivity, if it's love, if it's all those gratitude, if that's the frequency that grows things. And I wasn't in a circle of people that were operating at the same frequency. And I was like, wading through it, looking for it. And finally I had to step out of that circle and into another circle. And that's the circle of what Maggie creates, which is to remind us to dream. We have a dream and it's outside of us, and we have to think bigger, and then our hearts will grow bigger because we keep surrounding ourselves with more and more people like that, so of that same frequency.
So incredible. And it was chapter 17 on page 223 if you have the book.
17, that's what it was. Yeah,
that's
223.
okay. That's all right. And that's where I was like, oh wait, you're doing 23. So but
no, I knew it was
okay.
a 23 in there somewhere.
Yeah, it was 223, page 223 in the book, Circle or Cage. And so I'm so grateful that you have chosen to step in. And I know that nothing will be the same, because that in which you have allowed me to disrupt your thought process, as much as sometimes I know you're like, so many times people, I know I disrupt people in the kindest way. I totally do. And I'm learning is that we were talking a minute when we started about the human design, which is something I'm learning and understanding, that I am a manifester. And when I heard that, I was like, well, then dang, my manifester is kind of dull because I'm not manifesting all that I desire. And what I recognize is, as I'm learning more about myself, is that in which I had a challenge with as a child, because I was a disruptor. I would say things and I remember seeing adults' face and I'd be like, uh-oh, I shouldn't say that again. I should probably just be quiet. Okay, I'm just not going to do that. And instead that disrupts our frequency of ourselves, our worthiness, our abilities, and our grace, that we can learn through the situations. And when you're in the right circle, you can say with love always, and it can be such a blessing. And with the wrong people, it can be an absolute cage and not good. And yet, unless we recognize that, we can block some amazing blessings. And so my gift to you today in all this is going to be two things. We didn't do wins. So if you can pop in the chat and share a win. Avril, I'm so excited. I'm finally going to read my hard copy. I got the book in the mail last week, which is amazing because lots of things are challenging to get to Colombia. I know she was waiting on her workbook. So that's a win, Miss Avril. I will share a win, you guys. This is just, this is what I love about life. I love about how when we put out something in the world and we say, this is what I need. I needed someone to be creative in the digital space. And I made mention to Avril and her friend Tracy, who's going to be watching this on the replay. Love you, Trace. You are doing great things. And so grateful that you shared with Avril because I shared, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me in the graphic area in my business. And Avril said, well, that would be me. And I was like, what? And so like, that's the gift. And so what I want is, so we're literally doing this afternoon, talking back and forth. And I was like, so that which you don't ask for, you will never receive. It's like when you blow out the candles on your birthday cake, and it blows my mind that all these years we'd say, make a wish, but don't tell anyone. What the heck is that about? If we don't tell somebody our wish, it will never come true. Well, it can come true. It's just not going to come true together with such power because we love making dreams come true and being a part of that. But we won't have that unless we first have a dream and share it.
With the right people. We require to share it with the right people.
Right people that aren't going to pee in your parade.
Yeah.
And, in your garden and, like be able to say, well, heck yeah, I'm going to help fuel that. I'm going to feed your garden so that you have much richness. So here's my last little bit. I didn't know, did anyone else put their wins in there? That was a win.
I wanted to share one quick thing that I learned yesterday. I was with a girlfriend. We did self-care. We went to lunch and she has a friend that she just fired, but she was telling me, I called this woman out because of her negativity and she told her, I don't want to hang out with Lori. And I said, you have to understand, people can't handle the truth. And those aren't the people we want to be around. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'm so glad so it's just interesting when you are yourself, people can't handle it. Or if you call people out, they can't handle it. So my friend just fired her as a friend. I said, it's purge season, honey. I had purged a couple people and she said, Lori, you gave me permission. You inspired me to get rid of this person that's been in my life for a long time. I've been wanting to do it. She said, but with you sharing that you did it with some other people, she goes, I did it and I feel so good.
Such an absolute, and the opportunity we must realize is that we have the choice, and that when we think about that person, does that person bring a smile to our face and our hearts, or do they make us go? Or is it a cringe? Is it a sadness? And that's the greatest gift we have as an opportunity. What I wanted to leave you with is that blessing to understand that intuition is in all of us. Our imagination is we are of such an incredible DNA. And so many times that we let those around us make us less rather than more. And we are so much greater together. And so I'm going to end with one more thing here. My win was dinner with friends. Let's see. Last night, and returning students starting again this week. Yay! Oh, Stacy win. She won 2 raffles yesterday at the fundraiser and realized that I really need to end a friendship because they don't align with where I'm going. I send them off with light and love. My friend that I cleaned for, I told I'm not available anymore with my schedule, and she hired a cleaning crew to come now. A crew! your position is a great opportunity to see.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That is
Absolutely.
incredible.
purge season, ladies.
Yes,
Yes.
opportunity.
Level
blessing.
upgrading. We're being upgraded.
So very true. So very true. And
Upgraded,
so
yeah.
we will be giving you more details about the opportunity that you can opt in to meet with us on a regular basis. We have 2 memberships coming, and we have a platform and a community and many blessings. And we're learning that technology is a beautiful thing. And I would like to rush it right now. And it's not allowing me to rush. There's more behind the scenes, and I will tell you for the exact reason today. And Martha, I'm so grateful for your patience, because what we realized was we were testing out some of the behind the scenes, like this email that comes out that's amazing, I think, but it was missing the password in it. And we're launching a text reminder, because I have learned that digital automation is a gift when it's amazing and set up properly. So we're working on that so that when we launch, you will have support. You will feel us with you more often and use the technology to communicate and be able to have that. And you'll have options and choices and ways that you can share. So be patient. We will have more details.
Definitely.
So thank you. And the color that you're wearing today is beautiful on you. Like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
pretty.
you. Thank you.
yes, so beautiful. So let's finish with my masterful skills here, because Miss Lori has gifted us with another gift to end today. I thought that was such a great visual to end with, and understanding the colors of the butterfly are so, I mean, like absolutely
Vibrant.
mind-boggling. Yeah, the vibrancy.
One of my clients / girlfriends painted this for me, and on the back of it, it's called the Wings of Change.
Oh, wow.
Ah,
Wings of
so
change.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
in
honey.
all the, go ahead, honey.
No, it's just amazing. Divine, everything's in divine order.
So
Alignment.
beautiful. And in my believing bigger today, I am on day 5, and I'll end with this incredible prayer because I thought it was amazing. Lord, make me like Peter. Draw me out of the boat of the familiar and safe man-made methods. I commit to keep my eyes on you. Invite me into miracles, signs, and wonders.
Mhm.
And so it is.
Amen. And so it is.
Ladies, have the best day, best week. Hope to see you again next week.
Look forward to it. Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies. Have a
Bye.
great day. Great rest of your week.
Yes.